Now that we have all of our parts together, we can start putting together the rig. We're going to start out with our little port right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to plug that straight into where the solar panel is supposed to plug in. There's a positive and a negative. So we'll just screw those in really quick. Once you get them screwed in, you always want to make sure you have a good connection. And just pick it up, give it a couple of tugs, make sure it's not going to come out of the socket. And the next one we're going to do is for the power port itself. And you can always tell with these, first of all, the inside prong is always the positive. So on the outside, you can generally tell which one's the negative just by looking at it. You can see that this post is pretty much just soldered onto the outside body of this, so we can tell that's the negative. What we'll do is we'll put one of our power wires on it. That one's going to be the negative. And we'll just screw that into the controller here on the negative part of the power out here. And then we'll need another wire out of our set for the positive. We'll just screw that in right here into the positive port. And you have your negative, your positive hooked up. We'll just click those on. I do recommend that you wrap these connections with some electrical tape or some shrink wrap tubing or something like that. We'll do that when we go to install it in the box, but we're going to need to shorten these wires anyway. Now that we have that hooked up, let's take a look at our battery connection. And we're going to start off with the positive lead first on the battery here, or on the controller here. We'll screw this positive lead in. Okay. We'll screw a negative lead in. Now we have our positive and negative leads hooked up. We're going to use this switch, and what we're going to do is basically we're going to make this a cutoff. So if you're not charging it, or if you're just not using it, you turn the switch off. It doesn't send any power over to the charge controller. That way the battery doesn't drain slowly. Because this has a LED that stays on all the time that'll tell you, hey, it's got power going to it. So if we put the switch in there, it'll prolong the battery life of it just sitting there in standby. So we'll take our other connector, the one with the two connections, the two female spade connections on the end of it. We'll plug one into the positive. We're going to plug one into the one of the parts of our switch. And we'll grab the positive lead off of the controller here, which is this one. We'll plug that in right there. And then our negative lead coming from the charge controller, they get plugged into the battery here. And then when I throw this switch, the controller should come on. There we go. Controller's on. It's not taking any power right now. Well, it's not taking any power in. So I'll scoot this back a little bit so we can show this off. And with that going right now, I could actually unplug my shop light, which runs on a 12-volt hookup. I can plug it in our power port. And now my shop light is running off the battery, which it's blinking because the power is really low on this battery. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to charge this up a bit. not too much of a problem. I don't like this connection here. We're going to crimp that down just a little bit more to make it tighter. And we're going to take our 12 volt or 14.4 volt 1000 milliamp 1 amp power supply here, and I'm going to plug this in to the mains power. I'm going to take this, we'll plug this straight into here and make sure that our machine is on. Plug that in like that, and light comes on to tell you it's charging. Set the battery on the end of that so it keeps it all in frame. And then we can plug our shop light back in, which has got more of this 1 amp supply. It takes about a half amp to run these lights, so they're not too powerful. And it's all powering off the socket right there. The battery is charging. You can see with the lights here, you have charging and power out. Power out will come on as long as you have a battery hooked to it that has enough voltage. If not, it'll shut the controller down like it was trying to do the last time when we plugged the light in. And then that's basically it. Now we got to figure out how to take all of this stuff and put it into a box. And if we can figure that out, we'll be good.